Welcome to Saving Time with Margot, Fall Fair Edition. We're gonna make up a few things. Freezer pickles is the first. I love freezer pickles. They're delicious on sandwiches and hot dogs, hamburgers, that kind of thing. So if you're sending sandwiches to school or in your own lunch, freezer pickles are a good option for that. The other thing we're going to make today are jar salads, excellent for taking to work and excellent for sending to school in school lunch kits. I can promise you, making pickles at home is cheaper than buying a jar of pickles. You're going to save money. You can adjust the recipe to make just one jar at a time if that's what you want to do. But the freezer, make them up, put them in the freezer, you're ready. Buy cucumbers when they're on sale and get them set aside. They'll keep in the freezer for a year. And in the fridge, usually try to eat them up in about a week. So make your containers a size where you imagine I could eat these up in a week. Freezer pickles are so simple. Honestly, it's a handful of ingredients. I promise you've got what you need. You will have to go out and get your cucumbers. These baskets right now are gorgeous because they're Ontario fresh and ready to go. Can't resist it, right? But any cucumbers will do. These are special pickling cucumbers. I've certainly done it with just normal cucumbers, not to worry. Sometimes I leave the skin on, sometimes I take it off. Sometimes I go old-fashioned style. I'm just gonna get a bowl for compost. Sometimes my grandma, I don't know, maybe it was fancy, hard to say, she'd just take a few stripes off, right? And then it made it look like a big deal on the plate, the cucumbers, with just a few stripes off. Suit yourself. I don't mind them either way, with or without, and it won't affect the way they freeze or anything like that. It truly comes down to just preference. All we're gonna do, we're gonna thinly slice the cucumbers. I brought this along because I like to have a nice big basin for mixing them up. You've got a big mixing bowl, that works. You know what, use it, whatever your largest pot is in the kitchen. People always forget to see things in a different way. A pot is just another kind of bowl. It's just safe on the stove. Take the ends off, compost them, and then thin slices. Don't go so thin that you're gonna cut yourself, but just, if you imagine you're gonna put them on a sandwich. So you don't want them so thick that they're all chunky on your sandwich and falling out and making things a mess. So that's how I kind of judge it. Just go along, chopping them up, and then once they're there, we'll just keep dumping them into here for now. The only other ingredient that you need special for these is 1 onion. We're gonna slice up an onion and add to it. Now that said, if you decided you want it to get fancy, and especially if you want it to gift these to people, fun to add a few slices of red bell pepper in there, or maybe a little thinly sliced carrot, makes it colorful, makes it beautiful. Now it looks fancy when you set it out. So think about that. If you've got it, add it. I'm gonna stick to the basic recipe here today to keep things easy. And now we need an onion. I'm not going to cry. Got a nice flat edge to set it down with, okay? Whenever you can, cut it so that you've got a nice flat edge. Don't try to cut a baseball. That's how we get hurt. We want nice thin slices. So they'll all come apart in the brine. We don't need to be too worried about it. They'll fall apart as they wish. And this is just for flavor. So we were talking about it earlier, but if a yellow onion is what you have in the house, use that. If you've got a red onion, nice color. Honestly, just whatever you have. These were on sale, so I went with that. The lines on my thing are very faint, but I know that's a 4-cup measure. So I'm calling a cup. And then we need our 2 cups of sugar. And this is mustard seed, about a tablespoon. I'm not much of a measurer, I'm sorry, I just kind of drop it in. And then some black pepper. So you could just put the straight peppercorns in there if you want. I'm going to grind up a few and just add it in there. This is just salt. So you want about 2 teaspoons. A pinch is approaching half. So we're going to go 4 pinches, okay? I'm going to pour it over in here. Dump it all in there. Get everything you can. I didn't bring a spatula with me today. That wasn't very smart of me, but oh well, we'll do that. Grab yourself a slotted spoon and give it a good mix around. Good mix around. You want to make sure that you're getting all of it coated. The onions, the cucumbers, everything's getting coated. And now you can see. Can you see? Yeah, you can probably see in the mirror. How exciting. This is new. You can see how those onions now are all breaking up. Now that I've sliced them in the thin slices and now they're just coming apart. You see any that are still all together, just bust it up with the spoon. So when I'm doing this at home, I have a refrigerator. And I would just put, honestly, when I use a container like this, please don't get out the plastic, okay? Leave the plastic for something else. A cookie sheet. A cookie sheet is a perfect lid for a rectangular container. Okay? Don't go, we reach for plastic out of habit, but there are so many things. Most dinner plates fit bowls. And now you've got a lid. And you know what else is great about doing that? They stack in the fridge then, because you got a nice solid lid on everything. Go with things like that. You've already got them. Why are you spending your money on things like plastic wrap? Save it for exciting things. Cucumbers for pickles. So I would normally set this into the fridge, but because we don't have a fridge here today, I'm going to divvy it up into these containers. And I'm just going to set them in my cooler for now. As soon as they're frozen, you can move them to your fridge, thaw them in your fridge, and start eating and enjoying them. Next up, we're going to make salads in jars. It's all about eating well, not spending a ton of money doing it, and looking after ourselves at home instead of constantly out. Let's make our lives easier. I'm going to do a chicken salad with apples and cranberries, some red onion, spinach. Honestly, this is such a versatile process that you can switch things out as you wish. And then do something with tuna salad in the bottom, maybe switch it up for ham flake, whatever you've got, whatever you know your family's going to eat. I want everybody to eat well, spending less. So we're going to use flakes of chicken. This is on sale this week for $2 a can. That said, if you happen to have chicken on Sunday for supper and you've got some left over, chop it up and do the same thing with your leftover chicken. We're going to drain these. These have a handy little pull tablet. So right off the bat, I'm just going to put them in a colander. So I'm just going to dump this in here. We'll break it all up, let it drain away while we get everything else ready. There's one done. Now, sometimes these little tins can have a fair bit of salt in them. So just be careful when you season, okay? Just do a little taste check. Make sure that you're not adding more than you want it to. Just breaking it up now. I've got that broken up and ready for us. Next up, we're going to use spinach. I chose spinach. Honestly, spinach, kale, any of these will work. Again, go with what you know your family's going to eat. This was on sale this week, so I thought, there's my answer. I didn't have to decide. It chose for me. We're going to add apples. We're going to add some red onion. It doesn't need to be red onion, but it looks nice if it's red onion. We're going to put some grapes in. If your family, and some cranberries. If your family is able, you could add a layer of nuts, but again, that kind of ruins the whole school lunch thing if you do nuts. Then we're going to transfer it here. We're going to do our chicken first because it goes in the bottom of the jar. Now, the reason we do that is if we make up the chicken salad with the dressing and everything, then the dressing is going to stay in the chicken salad. And now our lettuce, our spinach today, isn't getting all soggy in the jar. Nor do we need that separate little plastic container of salad dressing that we're keeping separate. Making this up, it's in the bottom. When we go to eat, a little shake, now the dressing is blended right through everything else. So it's a great way to make sure things stay fresh. I'm going to use a mix of sour cream and mayonnaise for my dressing. If you've got plain Greek yogurt at home, replace your salad cream with that, okay? Honestly, don't get caught up in the exact ideas. We want about a quarter of a cup. I mean, honestly, that's a quarter cup measure, so this is looking pretty close. I do this a lot. This, I mean, it's dressing. We don't need to be exact. So that goes in there. And then we're gonna get just a couple of tablespoons of mayonnaise. And I mean, this is just regular mayonnaise. Again, you're gonna choose what you know your family likes. If they're vegan, I think you can get vegan mayonnaise and things now. You want 2 tablespoons, just toss it in there. That's it. You need a little bit of salt and pepper in there. And again, be careful with your salt because of the chicken, okay? The tinned chicken can be hot. I'm doing 1 pinch. Little bit of pepper in there because you need it. Why wouldn't you put some pepper in there? No matter how much pepper I put in food, my husband always adds more pepper. And I gotta tell you, sometimes I'm offended. You can see it's a nice thick, okay? You don't want it to be messy. You don't want it to be all loose because it'll all come away in the jars. It won't stay nice. And we're gonna put our red onion in here. So, again, this is my compost bowl today. We just need a quarter cup. So this is a nice big onion. I'm gonna say that's probably gonna give us a quarter cup. Make it so that you're cutting on a flat surface always. So set your onion down on one of those cut edges. Chop this up nice and small so that, I mean, it's in a salad. We don't want people to need a knife to eat the salad. So chop it up well. A quarter cup of red onion chopped up. So that's about, again, you're looking, okay? Don't be too nervous about it. Dump it in. It's gonna be great. We've got the right amount. Look, my hands are red now. That's wonderful. And now stir that up. There's our chicken salad portion ready to go. Next thing we'll get set up is our apples. So these apples, lovely, Paula Reds right now are the first ones in the grocery store that are local and it's nice and firm. And I usually just approach them kind of by cutting around the core. And then that's good eating. If you're feeling a little peckish and you need a bite, that's good eating right there. And then just cut these not too small. But again, thinking you don't want people to need a fork to eat or a knife to eat their salad. So just chop them up into what you count as bite-sized pieces. I'm gonna put them in there. Then what I'm gonna do, if you can get your hands on Cortland's, if you don't already know this, Cortland apples are the best ones for salads and such. They don't brown the same as other apples. So when you can choose a Cortland, choose the Cortland. I went looking for them because I wanted to sell the whole Cortland thing today. Couldn't find any. Too early. But keep that in mind when you're doing, especially salads or fruit plates. I don't know, I think on the recipe I said 2 tablespoons. Do what it takes. Just put a little bit in there, shake it up. Little bit of lemon juice to stop those apples from turning brown on us. Just doing that to make them so they don't turn on us while we get everything else ready. Grapes, I knew there wasn't a sink here today, so I pre-washed everything before I came. Our grapes are there. If you've got little kids, you might want to cut them. But, I mean, I'm going to leave them. They're beautiful. They're so nice. And then some dried cranberries. Okay, we're going to add them. Nice little bit of seed in there. And spinach. Okay. I picked these jars up at the dollar store just for today, so I could say, want a salad? Take a salad. So these, but depending if you've got kids taking these to school, the glass jar may not be the best. Okay, doesn't need to be in a glass jar, but it looks really nice, right? If it shows up, no reason you couldn't put this together in a thermos or any container that you have. So, if you have one, or if you don't yet get one, a mason jar funnel. So if you do any amount of jams or preserving, soup, anything at all, these are great because they fit in. And they've still got that nice wide opening. And then if you're like me and you tend to go a little too fast and you start getting a bit of a mess on your hands, that's a saver. So we're just going to, we want to divide it. So I'm going to start light and make sure we've got lots. I can go at least one more scoop. And this then has all your dressing in it, right? It's not going to make your greens get soggy. There's another, and look at that, there's your protein in there. You can imagine making a Cobb salad like this with your chicken in the bottom and then adding everything in there, your hard-boiled egg. So pretty. There we go. Next in is our lettuce. Look at me, I'm getting quite a mess here. So this, I don't want the stems. I don't know about you if you're fond of the stems or not. The stems can be a bit of a thing. I usually just tear. I mean, you can line them all up and chop them off, but I find it easier just to keep making a handful and tear. And then we're going to pack in some spinach. And we want to leave a little bit of space at the top, but we're packing it in, probably a couple of handfuls in each. Some jar salads, it's possible to eat them out of the jar. You shake them up and eat them out of the jar. You can if you want, or take a bowl or a plate or something and dump it out, and then just go with what works for you. Okay. Absolute last. I'm going to stop myself. I'm setting that over there. Next up, we've got our spinach. Next, we're going to do cranberries. We want about 1/4 of a cup for the whole recipe. We'll just, I've got handfuls of them here. I'm just going to do a smattering and another little bit and a little bit. I didn't have many left in this bag. Westminster Kitchen, the kitchen at Westminster. One of our things that we do on a weekly basis there is we partner with the Hospital Auxiliary and their Pulps Cafe and Headwaters Hospital, and Charities Helping Charities. They buy some baked goods from Westminster and then sell them there, and everybody's winning. We're helping us, they're helping them. The whole community ends up winning on ventures like that. And I always have cranberries because we send cranberry orange scones. So now our cranberries are there, apples are coming next. There they are. So same thing, I'm just gonna add them around, split them up. We'll make sure we've got enough for everybody. I do a little bit in each and then get generous. It's better to be a little stingy the first round and then get generous on the next round. And the last thing is the grapes. So look at these beautiful salads. Look at them, they're gorgeous. Look at how healthy we are for the week. We're this good for the week. We're gonna put lids on these, and we made lunch. Look, we've got 5, we made 5. We've got lunch for a week of lunches, good for 5 days in the fridge. Sunday night, we started 30 minutes ago. 30 minutes, healthy lunch, 5 days of the week. How can you go wrong?